Buddy, welcome to SF Live, Facebook, YouTube, my mastermind group. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. Listen, I'm broadcasting multiple places today. This is the very first time that I'm doing this, and so hopefully all things are working. But technology is a crapshoot. And so if you could do me a favor, let me know where you're watching this from. If you are on YouTube, let me know, hey, Ben, watching you from YouTube. If you're over in my mastermind community on Facebook, sixfigurephotography.com/mastermind. If you're in the mastermind group, then let me know that you're in the mastermind group. And if you're on my regular good old Ben Hartley Facebook page, well, then you let me know if you're there as well. You guys, thank you so much for being here. My name is Ben Hartley. I host the Six Figure Photography podcast. And Monday through Friday, I produce live content for you guys here. I've been doing this for a long time. And if this is your first time watching, thank you for being here. Let me know if it's your first time watching. That would be awesome. I'd love to just say thank you for being here. We got someone watching the mastermind group. Hello, watching in the community as well. Good. Peace, yo. Watching from Facebook live in my living room. That's awesome. Now listen, this is going to be broadcast a number of places. You're going to see this on my main page. You're going to see this on YouTube. But where the conversation happens is in the mastermind group. Okay, that's where the conversation happens. This is the place that I am actively engaged, answering questions, dialoguing with you guys. And it's also a place where other amazing photographers who are really freaking smart, who are experts in their own fields, maybe they're experts in portrait photography or pet photography or brand photography or whatever that may be. That's where they live. And that's where they also give really great thoughts, advice, feedback, that kind of stuff. Yeah, the mastermind group is where it's at. So, you guys, thank you for being here today. I titled this video something along the lines of what did I say? Photographers, this is killing your bookings. Okay, so let's get into this for a minute here. I coach photographers, right? So I do a lot of coaching, and with the coaching, I do role playing. It's one of my favorite things about coaching is to have somebody be in the hot seat. And we actually role play this thing out, right? Where I'm a lead or they're a lead or I'm a client, they're a client, all that kind of stuff. And we'll just riff through a couple different things. And I have a 4-week coaching thing that I do. And on the fourth week, the fourth and the final week, I have whoever it is that I'm coaching sell to me. I have them do the entire walkthrough, the entire consultation process from beginning all the way until the end. And then at the end of it, we get a chance to kind of observe, hey, what worked out of this? Like, let's acknowledge what is really working well for you. Let's dial that in. Let's kind of draw attention to it, put a little sticky note on it. What did not work? Like, hey, this is some feedback from me. This is some stuff that I really wrestled with. It didn't really line up. And then once we can identify what didn't work, well, what is wanted and needed in order to bring it up to something that we can start seeing better results from. And I have seen this, I would say it's certainly over half. I should probably be more clear than that. It's probably like 90%. 90% of the time that I'm being sold to, there's this thing that happens at the end that completely kills the session, or not the session, the sales room. It kills the sale. And if it doesn't kill the sale for you, if you're about to hear what I'm going to say and you're like, well, that doesn't kill the sale for me, well, then it's probably the reality is that you're too cheap. It's like, listen, if you ain't hearing no, if like you're just hearing yes over and over and over, it's because you're cheap. And when you're cheap, different things work. Like you can kind of just like imagine, like it's you just kind of, you could do anything and people be like, well, yeah, that's really affordable. That's a great deal. I'm going to pull one over on this guy and I'm going to buy. And so don't get it in your head that like, well, yeah, but then that doesn't happen for me. That doesn't work. I love this quote. I think it was Einstein or something that says what got you to, and this is, I'm going to butcher the quote, but what got you to where you are today is not the same thing that's going to get you to where you want to be. So the same techniques, the same tactics, the same moves, the same things that you've been doing to get you to this stage. If you want to move your prices up and you want to actually start becoming a premium brand, a luxury brand, if you want to start shooting 5, 6, 7, 10K weddings, you're going to need to start doing things a little bit differently. So as that little thing in your brain starts talking to you, called your ego, as it starts talking to you and saying, yeah, that doesn't really apply to me. This doesn't really matter. This doesn't really affect my sales. It doesn't currently affect your sales because you're cheap. So that's my little jab at you for today. All right, that's my little jab. So here's the way that this usually goes. I'm gonna role play this out with myself for a second. Okay, here's the way this normally goes. The way it normally goes is something like this. There's a little rapport that gets built during like a consultation. It could be over the phone, Zoom call. It could be in person. And so the meeting starts off with rapport, with relationship building. Tell me about you two. Tell me about you two as a couple. What are you interested in? Tell me more. And we settle in with a couple. And we kind of build that relationship, and then there'll be this transition where we're like, okay, well, tell me about photography and all that stuff. Okay, cool. I'd love to, let's get into the prices, right? And usually that part's a little awkward. If it's awkward for you, let me know in the comments. That transition from like relationship, rapport, just kind of connecting to like, okay, here's our prices. here's the numbers. Like, can we talk about it? And let me know in the comments if that feels like if you feel like that's a little awkward. It probably should be you. I think it can be an awkward thing. No bad if it's you. I just like to know that I'm not alone. And then this is what happens. And this is the thing that I'm going to draw attention to today that is killing the sale. Yes, someone says super awkward. Yeah, it's all good. All love. And listen, I'm awkward a lot. And then you just keep growing. You keep pressing forward. You keep learning. Yep, awkward. Yes. Let's see. This person said, I'm pretty stern on it. Like it's nothing, so it's not for me, but I'm sure for them. It's funny. Okay, so this is then what happens, and this is what's killing the sale. I'm going to share my screen for you. You do this whole thing, and then you cut to this. You hand them something, or you pull up a screen on paper or whatever, and you show them this screen, and it goes like this. Okay, so here's our collections, and let me just kind of walk you through them. Now, I don't care how many collections you have. This is not a conversation about that. I don't care what your prices are. This is not a conversation about that. I don't care what's in your collections. This is not a conversation about that. Those are all things that could also be killing your sale. This is not a conversation about any of those things. This is a conversation around the fact that we just went from just talking to just I feel like there's a phrase here, like black and white. We flipped a switch and boom, they're now seeing 4 collections, 3 collections, doesn't matter. They're seeing all the collections right here. And then it goes like this. Okay, so this Going Steady one has 2 photographers, an 8-hour shoot or reveal celebration, and then immediately the lead is like, hey, what's a reveal celebration? Oh yeah, so the reveal celebration is like when you come in to see your pictures, we're going to be printing them all. We're going to have a wall of all your pictures. It's going to be like the coolest thing. Okay, cool. So 30-day online gallery, 1-year backup. Okay, hold on real quick. So like the 1-year backup, can you tell me a little bit more about that? What happens after a year? Yeah, so after a year, what happens is, and then you explain that, and then you keep going. Okay, it has a natural engagement session, high-res files. Okay, tell me more about the engagement session. Yeah, so the engagement session it's like a 1-hour shoot. We go anywhere. It's like super fun. And then you start talking about the engagement session to explain that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then they keep going to explain high-res files, print release, and an 8x8 linen album. Now, the albums are really cool, but you could also have a leather album, or you can make it a 10x10 or a 12x12. There's all kinds of options that you could do. Now, what's happening here? What's happening here is this. You're explaining all the different items that you do. You're explaining everything while you're supposed to be closing. Okay, while there's just a decision that should be made. And now, instead of a decision being made, you're continuing to explain and unpack and talk about and discuss all these things that everyone is so confused about. And it is killing the sale. Now, while you think they're looking at your different pricing options, what they're really doing is just trying to get their head around engagement sessions. But you're not even doing that effectively, because while you're explaining engagement sessions and the difference between a natural engagement session and a story engagement session, they're not even looking at that maybe, because now they're trying to decide like, wow, 7,400, that's a shit ton of money. That's a lot. But they're trying to figure out how they could justify it in their brain. And so no one's listening to anything. You've completely tanked the sale. And it goes a little bit like this. Like there's, I've oftentimes described it as this. You know, there's the limbic portion of the brain, which is where you're keeping people at when you're in the relational phase of the meeting, which is very emotion driven. It's spatial recognition, it's memory, it's nostalgia, it's feelings, and it's that relational connection. And you're in that space, and everyone's happy, and we're selling off emotion, and we're building rapport, and we're really, you know, we're building that connection, right? And then you get to the part where you've got to start to transition into like, hey, numbers, logic, reasoning. And the more expensive that you become, the higher your price point you become, the more that logical reasoning side of the brain engages. You know, it's like if someone's going to drop $7,400, $10,000 on some wedding photography, they will have to logically be able to justify it, no matter how high their emotions are running. And that means that they're going to be switching from into the neocortex. And so normally what's happening is they're up here and they're flying high and pie in the sky, and it's all great, and we're la la land, you know, and we're in the limbic portion of the brain, relational, and then you go to the pricing and you just crash land that plane. Just nosedive it, just like straight into the ground. But on top of it, then you start continuing to explain all the confusion. There's no clarity. If you confuse, you lose. So instead, what needs to happen is we need to actually land that plane. We need to land the client, moving them from the limbic portion of the brain to the neocortex. And we need to do it as a guide, and we need to do it gently. And the way that we're going to do it is by first off letting them know, by signaling, hey, we're landing the plane. We're going to answer every question, every concern, objection, you know, whatever it is, all the nitty gritty, everything's going to be answered. And we need to have a dedicated portion of our meeting that is set to simply explain all the different components of what we do. So by the time we get to this part, they only need to be deciding yes or no. There's no question, there's no confusion, there's no objection about what's a style shoot, what's a story shoot, what's a natural engagement session, how many pages come in the album, tell me more about the album, when do I get my pictures, how do I reserve the date, what's the next step, is there a contract, none of that stuff. All of that will be answered as you land the plane, and then you will get to this where they will simply be deciding yes or no, this or that. And then there's a little bit more to my close. I've got a 6-point close process that is really fun, because with my 6-point close process, it's not even deciding between 4 collections, 3 collections, however many collections you have. The 6-point close process that I have literally is just a decision of, do you want this or do you want that? That's all that should be decided by the time that they're seeing all the collections. There should be no other question. There should be no other concern. Every single objection should be landed. The plane has been guided. They've moved from the limbic to the neocortex. Everything makes sense. All right, you guys. That was just a little nugget here for today. It looks like this isn't broadcasting to YouTube, I don't think. I've been trying to figure out this I'm using this Restream Live to start streaming to multiple platforms. And it looks like there is here, I'll show you actually. It looks like there is a solid 0 people watching on YouTube right now. So such is life. You guys, I appreciate you so much. If you are watching this on my main page, please, I want to invite you to join the Mastermind group. It's a free group, sixfigurephotography.com/mastermind, free group, but that's where I live. That's where I actually continue to engage with you, answer questions, all that kind of stuff. Make a post, tag me in it, and chances are, if I don't have kids crawling on me at home, I will be replying to you. So you guys, thank you again, and I'll be live once again tomorrow, hopefully figuring out how to broadcast this out to YouTube as well. So until then, everybody, appreciate you. Work hard. Shoot smart. Love well. Bye, everyone.